Hello, one and all. Good morning, afternoon, evening, whatever it may be. I'm AJ Capuano.
And I'm Kaylee Capuano.
And you are listening to Atlas Shrugged, the Avatar The Last Airbender podcast.
We're married. I love the show. He's never seen it, so we're going one episode at a time.
Now, our two cats, Mrs. Norris and Zink, had never seen Avatar before this.
Not
and
true.
So this is a whole new world. Norris had seen it?
Nori has seen it at least 2 times all the way through.
Well, then, Nori, I salute you for not spoiling anything for me. Graceful of you, as always.
She's a princess of the Earth Nation.
She is. She's a total earthbender.
100%.
I want to be an earthbender after watching this episode. This is episode 5, right?
This is episode 5. We are on the King of Omashu.
That was a pretty great episode. Very heavy on the humor. Let's dive right in, huh?
I think so. I think actually we should start with the previously on Avatar.
Previously on Lost. Maybe I'm showing my age with that reference.
I love how the intro, the previously on Avatar, you gotta watch that every time because it sets context. We saw scenes from a number of episodes that we've already seen, and that's an interesting way to kind of set you up for the episode. All the towers light up, and the word goes out, the Avatar is returned.
Awakened from his slumber. He took a little snooze.
Snooze in the ice.
The world had changed in some pretty significant ways since he was asleep. That's like just waking up after any amount of sleep these days. You wake up and you're like, oh my gosh. So what changed? Okay. Alright, cool. And then we get your classic intro.
Classic intro.
Water, earth, fire, air.
He's already
Thousand Island
learning
dressing.
Intro comes in, and we're already walking over some nice earthy hills upon the great Earth Kingdom city of Omashu.
Omashu.
Which is just beautiful. I think it's cool. You're walking up, there's just the one narrow path and 4 pyramids, or maybe they're just mountains.
You're walking up the path to this town and you see somebody's kneeling on the path that leads up to the city. Hey, what's wrong with you? Oh, my shoe's untied.
3, 2, 1. Sokka laughs hysterically.
Right. Oh my gosh. This episode was so funny.
We'll get there. So this is fun. I would love to hear your first impression of one of my favorite characters. Maybe favorite comedic character for sure in the entire show, which is Cabbage Man.
Cabbage Man? So as soon as I heard the first Cabbage Man, I was like, this will be a recurring joke. And then I was like, oh, this is the fruit stand guy. You know that cliche in movies, in an 80s action movie during a chase scene, where somebody's being chased and they're winding down alleys and stuff like that, and they're in their car and then they hit a fruit stand?
Yeah, they're always making hard right angle turns.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, so I was like, cabbage stand, alright. So our theme, I feel like the literary theme of cabbage first emerges with the first appearance of Cabbage Man.
I mean, I look forward to so many conversations, but I just think the first encounter we hear with poor Cabbage Man is this guard standing at these great city walls, just rotten cabbages.
As far as vegetables go, rotten cabbages are by far like one of the smelliest.
What's weird is I've been reading that new Hunger Games book, which so far in the first 100 pages I've read deals a lot with the smell of bad cabbage. So that was a very visceral experience in watching this episode.
Is that going to be a spoiler for anybody reading that book?
I mean, I am pretty good about spoilers, and I think that was fine to say. Sorry, y'all.
Speaking of spoiled, these cabbages.
The guard man says, what are you bringing rotten cabbages up in here for? And then up wander, disguised as old man, Pippin Pappin Popsicopoulos.
Pippin Pappidopsicopoulos.
Like, straight up, Aang was just a 12-year-old boy and said the first gibberish that popped into his head. And Katara, I mean, hilarious and smooth.
Uh-huh. I love how they didn't have her stumble over that because that would have been the obvious joke. They had her say it straight through. That was good.
She is,
I laughed aloud.
So savvy. That is, I think, her waterbender character coming out. She's just like, oh yeah, hi, June Pippin Pappin Popsicopoulos. See, I can't even say it.
She is like water.
She's so good. Okay. You said, at this point, you already want to be an earthbender.
Yeah, and this episode made me want to be an earthbender even more. It is cool. There is a lot of obvious benefit to being an earthbender. Plus, you can't really, go and see the sights in this town without being an airbender. It's very non-airbender, you know. It excludes the non-earthbenders.
I don't see that it excludes the non-earthbenders because Kyoshi, the island we were at just the episode before, is completely non-bending and also part of the Earth Kingdom. So I think seeing like the super sweet tube and lane delivery system shows that they are very efficient, but their culture is not entirely about bending.
Right.
Yeah.
It is also about packages and cabbages.
So, first earthbending we see, like 3 or 4 layers of walls open up.
Yeah, that was cool. I'm really glad that nobody had left, you know, their fanny pack or their sombrero behind in the door, because they would not have been able to get it after that. I was looking at that wall, and I was thinking, well, how do they get in? Do they have to, you know, hop on a airbent, like, little surfboard? So,
I mean,
I don't know.
that's some tight security, right? You literally have to be an
Yes.
earthbender to let people in and out of the city.
It reminds me of the whoopee cushion door at the air temple. They only let their kind in. Is it like when I tried to go to the farm and home and they told me that I couldn't get in unless I had a mesh baseball cap on?
That actually might be similar. And I
Okay.
do wear a baseball cap almost every time I go
It
in
could
there.
have been. It could have been because I wasn't wearing any pants at the time either.
Yeah, no, that was probably...
Here's what I saw. No shirt, no shoes, no service. I saw nothing about pants. I saw nothing about a hat.
It's a pretty solid bet you just gotta have pants on in the
I think that guy
farm
was
and home.
messing with me. I think he was messing with
And
me.
perhaps pants on in the Earth Kingdom and, dare I say it, everywhere.
I hope throughout the duration of this series, pants are a requirement in any kingdom, or else this would be a dramatically different show.
We come into the city, we see the Omashu delivery system, like, right up close, right away. Miles and miles of tubes and chutes. And I think it was an interesting discussion, considering what the current state of our mail and delivery service looks like today.
Yeah, it seems like every time we do these episodes, there's a way that is topical with, like, the leading U.S. national news stories. And we both live in the United States, if you can't tell by, I don't know, garish lack of flavor in our accents, or...
What we call no accent, which makes no sense at all.
It makes no sense at all, because you can hear it. It's full-on murder.
And I just spent the last week in Virginia, where my brother and dad have spent some time, and man, I hung out with people and took on all kinds of words with different twangs, and I don't really know where they came from.
If you're around people with an accent, because everybody does this, everybody absorbs accents after a while, but you are the quickest person to absorb an accent that I've ever known.
I've read that that's typical of highly empathetic people, that you mirror behavior. I definitely do that. I don't mean to. But people who talk faster, I like talk faster around them.
Mm-hmm.
Or more energetically, or at the right measured tone. I just do whatever other people are doing, I think.
It's really cool. If you've never done this, pay attention to how you talk around one group of friends versus another, or versus the other one. If you've never done it before, you may be surprised by what happens.
So these people get their mail on time. And
They get their mail on time. It's very important.
Sokka, always skeptical, observes this, but then doesn't comment on it further. And then we dive into a flashback and meet Aang's old friend from the Earth Kingdom 100 years ago. Do you remember this dude?
Yes, I do. We get that flashback, and we meet this guy, and his name is Boone.
Boone.
Boomy.
Boomy.
Boomy. I got one right. I wrote it down, but I got it right.
B-U-M-I. Boomy.
Boomy. His name's Boomy. So we meet Boomy in this cool flashback, and we find out who he is because A, he's got crazy eyes, and B, he sort of is a individualistic person. And we get this great scene where they go cool runnings all the way down these elaborate chutes and tunnels and stuff.
Have you ever been to a water park as a kid and just at the top of like a way too steep slide. You know, that vantage point where we get out of the flashback and Katara, Sokka, and Aang are sitting in the cart at the very top of the slide.
Total water park moment, yeah.
Yeah. Straight up. One of the most terrifying moments as a kid, I think for everyone, but like I was addicted to it. That adrenaline rush, that is why I want to go to the Earth Kingdom to hang out with Aang like that.
Nickelodeon Studios, if you're listening, picture Disneyland, except there are 4 little zones.
Obviously.
It's because there's 4 elements: earth, water, earth, fire. Actually, I guess there would be 5 zones, right?
You intuited that, but we're not going to go there.
Would there be 5 zones?
Probably, yeah, definitely.
What would the 5th element be? Bruce Willis? I just think I'm so funny.
How'd you know Die Hard was the answer? Anyway.
Tell me you've never seen the 5th element.
Is Bruce Willis in the 5th element? Is it just 5th element or the fifth element?
It's the 5th element. We'll watch it. It's fine. It's not good. It's not bad. It's fine.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay, we're diving down the slide.
Diving down the slide, as always.
And...
Sometimes.
Sometimes?
Never.
Always. Right away, there's just a bunch of spears going down the runway.
It was a spear shipment. That's what I think. But I believe I remember in the weirdo earthbending warehouse training video that I pulled up on Vimeo that you're really supposed to put the spears the other way around.
Yeah, like...
Before you put them down the chute, or else you're going to poke an eye out. I'm going to personally log an OSHA complaint against Nickelodeon. Nickelodeon, we should talk.
But for the record, children shouldn't have been riding the Omashu delivery system. Certainly not 100 years later. Maybe Aang used to do this with his friend Boomy, but he constantly forgets that the world is a completely different place.
And this city, any signs posted.
This city might look the same, but he doesn't know it, you know?
Yeah.
And Katara and Sokka often are not given an opportunity to really know what Aang is about to do, or weigh in.
Yeah, he's impulsive.
Bit of an airbender.
Yeah.
Spears are racing after him, and then Katara's like, oh my god, Aang, like, please, use your airbending and, like, try and do something. And he's like, oh yeah, we can go way faster, and he speeds it right up. So we're still on this wild ride.
We're on this wild ride, and we're crashing through windows. We're taking shingles off of roofs, little comedic break chase scene stuff, and then, of course, we get that fruit cart moment. The cabbages.
We've wreaked havoc.
Mm-hmm.
We've busted through windows and over rooftops, and we've got that, like, good Aladdin-style tent bouncing scene.
Uh-huh.
And we see Cabbage Man has made it into the city with good cabbages. This is good.
It's important to have fresh cabbages. I say this as an enthusiastic salad preparer. Occasional salad preparer, but enthusiastic nonetheless. It is good to have fresh cabbages.
Good salads. He makes good salads. So, yeah, Cabbage Man, his cart is destroyed again. My cabbages!
My cabbages!
Team Avatar is apprehended and brought before the King of Omashu.
Busted.
Do you remember what they were charged with?
I think it was petty larceny, operating a water slide without a license, and
impersonation, destruction of property,
possibly petty larceny,
some other reckless behavior.
And I think Aang had some tax evasion in there that they busted him on there too.
That's maybe definitely true. I want to ask the writers that.
It's like 100 years worth.
Yeah. But, like, they destroyed his city. He doesn't owe him anything.
Yeah, maybe not. But you never know. They could always find you.
But what Aang and the team owes is for the malicious destruction of cabbages.
Malicious destruction of cabbages, and the punishment in a cabbage peddler's mind is very severe. Off with their heads.
Your sentence is a feast.
Something that they weren't expecting. They get a little salad buffet.
Yeah, so this whole dinner is just, like, filled with awesome jokes.
So many jokes. So many jokes. We could go through them one by one, but you've already seen the episode, so, I mean, why not? You saw it. You laughed. I laughed. I laughed out loud. It was great. This guy is a clown. This king, whoever he is a absolute clown.
Clown. And worth noting, because I'm super into this stuff, dressed in a brilliant and eccentric green robe with some cool feathers. He's
Horns
got
green,
like one of the most interesting wardrobes in the show to me. Big green robe, everything is painted in green. This is an Earth Kingdom thing. When we switch, he puts on a purple robe, which are the colors of magicians. Just saying. Anyway, go back to that dinner.
He's a magician with the salad.
Let us leave, Katara cries. Let us leave?
Which is so great. Okay, so my observation about this show, every aspiring show maker, take note. You have a show. You want kid humor. You also want adult humor. Avatar's airing in prime time. You want goodies thrown in for adults. Maybe some jokes that either both the kids and adults can understand and find funny, or that just the adults will find funny. Maybe the kids just think it's goofy or wacky, whatever. Like, let us leave. Like, a 7 or 8 year old kid is not going to really go for a pun. Aspiring show makers. It works. The proof I have is this episode of Avatar. You have the adults say the jokes for the adults, and you have the kids say the jokes for the kids. Don't flip them around. But if you have the adults say them, the adults are like, those are people like me talking to me. Kids watching the show will think the same thing. And both will do it a little bit subconsciously. It's just something that I noticed while we were at that dinner.
And if you are were a child of an educator, as both AJ and myself are,
True.
and then so you perpetually just understand adult jokes. I was 11, and this episode knocked. It's really funny.
This episode knocked.
Yeah, so let us leave. Like, the king doesn't even, give them time to realize how bizarre he's being. His authority is just, title king, and everybody, does what he says. And he hasn't done anything to hurt them. He's imprisoned them, but he gave them a feast. It's all bizarre.
I think that reminds me of my tenure as a restaurant kitchen worker. He's imprisoned them, he's enslaved them, but he's given them a feast at the end. Hey, but you know what? I know today's been hell. It was a Saturday. We were understaffed, but you know what? Have a free meal at the end. On us.
Free drinks always.
In other countries other than the United States, there's no free unlimited soda. You know how we walk into a restaurant and it's just we can have as much soda as we want, it's cheaper than water? I've
probably drank a good 5,000 times the amount of fruit punch High C a human is supposed to ingest in their life.
I mean, it has vitamin C in it, so it has to be good for you.
High vitamin C.
And see, that's the kind of vitamin that sticks to your ribs, makes you healthy.
Sticks to your ribs. You heard it here. Vitamin C sticks right to your ribs.
This show is not giving you bona fide medical advice. Please see a physician for details.
So, okay, the king's like, okay, Aang, joke's over. Tomorrow you are facing 3 deadly challenges.
3, you have to pass my riddles 3, and guess what? They might kill ya.
Might just kill ya.
Yeah, who knows? We'll see. We'll see how it goes.
So they have that exchange about which chamber the guard should take a Team Avatar to. Whether the old chamber...
So funny! Oh my gosh.
Take them to the refurbished chamber that was once bad.
I love that glimpse into what it would be like to be employed by this wacky guy.
Wacky King sends them to the newly refurbished chamber, which is nice, everyone notes. And I like, again, nice skeptical Sokka is like, okay, yeah, it might be nice, but we're prisoners. And that's all.
Yeah.
Always aware of the point. So they sleep right away. Katara and Sokka are kidnapped. Aang awakes to the day of the 3 deadly challenges and sees his friends are already being locked into some gemomite or creeping crystal.
Really clever device there. Kind of reminded me like Han Solo, you know, how they froze him up, except they went, there's no timer on it for Luke and the gang, you know. But this was cool. It created stakes, very visual. The science behind the crystals and stuff is just nonsense, but you see it go, whoop, and then you're like, oh, this is a threat. So it was cool.
But we're not talking about science, we're talking about myths and legends, because again, with the Gemimite, I talked about my theory that perhaps the king is a wizard. When he puts the creeping crystal on Katara and Sokka, it's in ring form, another sign of the magicians. Let us sleep.
Zink just looked at me like, not this again.
Why, Pep, have you disturbed my slumber?
Yeah.
I mean, wow, that really took me somewhere, though.
Sorry, it took us to a place we shouldn't have gone. Okay, so where were we? The wizard and I.
Yeah, so, Creeping Crystal, the stakes are placed.
The stakes.
The first challenge is retrieve the lunchbox key from the waterfall.
Who locks their lunchbox?
Wacky wizards, maybe.
Wacky wizards. And, like, here's the thing. You know that dude's bringing salad to lunch. Nobody's gonna try and steal it. It's salad. If he was the guy who brought applesauce with sprinkles, then somebody would try to steal it, but he's just eating salad.
He always wanted the friend who brought the extra Go-Gurt and had the cool pack in the bottom, so he had 2 cold Go-Gurts.
I had that friend, but he never shared.
I mean, it's totally fine to eat 2 Go-Gurts. It's like not a lot of yogurt.
That's not a lot of yogurt.
So the creeping crystals aren't very big yet, but this challenge with the lunchbox key is weird. AJ, you haven't had a lot of time yet to see how personalities are reflected in the elements. You're like starting to see that with water and air and fire for sure, but this is the first exposure to the Earth Kingdom, and it's super bizarre.
Yeah, the most I know about that is a BuzzFeed quiz.
So I would encourage you in this episode, listeners and husband, to look at earthbending in this episode through the lens of Aang as an airbender and see how his personality conflicts with it. Because I think this first challenge is really interesting, and it shows what the king accuses of him of later, of his avoid and evade strategy, where Aang is air. He's not going to hit a rock head on. He's not going to do anything with that. So he's hopping around. He doesn't know he doesn't know earthbending yet. So
At all?
No, not at all.
Okay.
So he falls, and he's jumping and hopping off the stalagmites, stalactites. I thought that was cool, and showed he can be very deft in pretty much any environment as an airbender, but ultimately he can't swim up the waterfall because he's not good enough at waterbending. Air won't get him through it, and he can't bend rocks, so he has to break off a stalagmite spike and do it differently. Think outside the box.
He has to think outside the box. Aang was presented a peculiar situation, and he thought peculiarly to get himself out of it. Okay, here's my question. What is this guy's life? What is this king's life? What are these rooms? Why does he have this stuff all done up? Is this how he treats all of the prisoners in this town? Is he just like, oh, so what? He walks in the jail. He's like, oh, what are you in here for? Wait, hold up. Have you ever considered the possibility that you're the airbender man?
The Avatar.
Because I have this facility set up over here that will show me beyond a shadow of a doubt if you are. And it's kind of like a Riddles 3 scenario, but the riddles, they'll kill you. I don't know. What is this guy's life?
Yeah, I mean, what even? But I don't think he's gonna have Aang sign a contract to come and do it, or he would not pull this crazy stuff off.
I would be asking for, because you gotta think, it's the Earth Kingdom, There's just a lot of dirt flying around. There was a lot of dirt flying around already.
That's true.
They got to reimburse you for wardrobe because that's going to have that your togas and your shorts and whatever, it's going to have stains. That let's be real here. You don't know if you're going to be able to get those out.
Dusty days in the Earth Kingdom. That's right. So let's get back to finding Flopsy.
Finding Flopsy. Found Flopsy. Flopsy's a big fluffy.
Did you figure that one out quick?
No. That strung me along the entire time.
It definitely did when I was a kid the first time, too.
Are you calling me a kid?
No, got me. I mean, the first time I watched it, I was like, oh, that's Flopsy. Duh.
Well, it got me. Okay. So, yeah, it got me, too. And I'm 30, but yes. All right.
Back to that good for kids and their parents. So,
He can bring the whole family. Sorry.
What is Flopsy? You've been introduced to some hybrid animals and some just mythical animals of the Avatar world. So what is Flopsy?
Flopsy's a kitty. It's just a really, really big kitty. Like Zinc.
Yeah, it is like Zinc.
Zinc is laying on a pile of clean clothes right in front of me.
Zinc is our barely 1-year-old Maine Coon kitty.
She's a little Maine Coon.
We didn't know she'd be so big.
She's growing bigger and bigger, and her claws are getting bigger, and soon she will be as big as Flopsy. I guarantee it.
It's like a growing Clifford the Big Red Dog situation.
Yes.
In our house. We're fine. So we got Flopsy, good, A-OK, belly rubs, and...
And now we're going back into this whole other freaking room that's just like, oh yeah, this is like my dirt challenge room. Dirt challenge room number 3 that I just have set up.
Underground arena.
There's all these packages flying up overhead. You don't think they need a warehouse. I'll bet this crazy guy cleared it out so he could have his weird dirty playpen. Anyway.
Deadly challenge number 3 is
the
duel. Point and choose.
At this point, the designer of the 3-point challenge has counted on the participant in the 3-point challenge. Has counted on that person having made it past the other 2 points and so having to think outside the box. Which is so funny because the pitfall ends up being if you think outside the box. So if you point and choose at the the outside of the box option, then you're screwed because it's this guy, Crazy King, and he's stacked. He rips off the shirt. He looks like Rambo, which is crazy because all the man eats is lettuce. How do you get that muscle mass? You're eating Flopsy food.
It's because he doesn't eat any rotten cabbage.
Oh, right. Yeah, they have a strict rotten cabbage policy in the earth. That's the secret of their success. If you're out there and you're going to form a society from scratch, take note. You thought I was gonna go into one of my lectures for people for AJ's creators lecture series.
How do you form a new society, AJ?
The first rule is fresh produce.
That seems smart. I would add corn to cabbage and some others probably.
Corn is good. And then I would add imitation crab meat to the cabbage and the corn. I toss it in a little mayonnaise, and then I just eat it like that.
I'm not sure why the imitation part, but that's fine. Imitation crab.
Okay.
Okay. Aang, 3-point challenge. Points and chooses the king.
Can we share a wedded consensus that Crazy King without shirt was a surprise? To be sure, but a welcome one.
To be sure. And I have to re-say.
Nice.
I never picture Rambo with his shirt on. Yeah.
Nice. 'Cause you're in for a pectoral surprise when the Crazy King takes off his shirt.
He's a feast for the eyes.
Nice.
A banquet I might refuse.
A banquet I might refuse.
But as the king makes Aang quite aware, there are no take-backsies in my kingdom. So Aang has to fight him. And he's like the most powerful earthbender. He says that there is.
And this thing goes total, like, wide world of sports, like feats of fancy. These people are showing off their bending skills.
I mean...
Epic battle.
Epic entrance for the element of earth. Thank you. I want to be an earthbender. Still do. Who knows how?
Well, I fully support your decision if you want to make a career change. You know, I know it's late in life, but I think you would have success in the landscaping industry.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Unprecedented success.
Can I work in landscaping with my pen and keyboard?
She's a pen bender. Always has been.
Pen bender!
Always will be. Yeah.
Hashtag pen bender. Okay, that's cool. And totally not planned.
Hashtag pen bender. Pay me $20, because guess what? Trademark pen bender. You have to pay me $20 if you say it.
Gotcha. Wait, not me too, right? There's like married rates.
The payer and the payee are the same, so I guess technically you don't have to pay anything.
Yeah, I'm gonna say free speech. Everybody take pay. No. Everybody.
If you want the First Amendment first, you gotta send it. $20. I will furnish my address at the end of this episode.
Pen benders. To the winds. To the hills. To the seas. To the skies. Maybe to Mars. I think there are things there. Anyway.
We're going to get nasty letters saying, "Where's my water buffalo? Why don't I have a water buffalo?" And you don't want that, do you? So stop being so silly. Okay, back to the episode.
So yeah, then we're in the battle. The duel. Hail, the Earth Surfer. That was incredible. Then it's literally like Aang making a tornado versus an actual cliff face.
Right, which is a real-life opposition. Tornadoes suck up the earth. The earth. You know, that's Old English for earth. Earth.
Earth?
Earth.
Did you learn that at summer camp?
How did you know?
You told me once. Didn't you know like a whole song?
Are you calling a 14-year-old learning an entire poem in Old English a summer camp? This was the Joseph Baldwin Academy. It was tough to keep up with your peers. We were legitimately snorting pixie sticks nightly.
You actually snorted pixie sticks? That's how you learned Old English?
Moniclife overklambe incontre a strange, verflotten fro his frendes, fremmedle herides. At uche warte, other water, there the we passed. He fond of for him before, but fremmedly he duere, but that so foole, and so felle, that fecht him behode, duteles, at him anellede, to the heie felle. Some wheel with wormwas he wears, and with wolves als, some wheel with woodwas, that wanted in the gnares. And Fraser hit falle nicht, to the falle earth.
To all those young teen adolescents who dream of one day finding a boy such as this, they're out there.
It's
I
not
found him.
a camp if it's called an academy. They named it an academy for a reason.
I mean, duh, that's sweet. You learned Old English at like a summer camp?
No, but the dodgeball was awesome.
Dude, dodgeball.
Yeah.
Yo.
Yeah.
How about boulder ball?
Boulder ball, right? No, that's what, great segue, because that is exactly what Aang is doing right now. He is dodging balls, except they are made of stone and will kill him.
Yeah, King follows the you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball mentality for sure.
Yeah. Yes.
How does Aang defeat the king? One of the things Aang really displays throughout this entire episode is the relationship between air and speed. So, he is ultimately quicker than the king, who's throwing up walls and giant boulders and, like, literally just tearing off cliff faces and throwing them. He's building tunnels under the ground, surfing on Earth. He's just the most skilled person I think we've seen so far. But Aang ultimately is faster. And
Yeah.
he just whacks him.
He holds him at staff point.
Staff point.
Uh-huh. You feeling lucky?
It's so non-violent. Held him at staff point.
I could make it really windy in here if I wanted to.
And I just want to say, like, anyone who has, like, a little bit of claustrophobia, I'm, like, a little bit claustrophobic. Can you picture the power of an earthbender? That man literally just fell into the earth and made himself a perfect tunnel through solid rock. Like, that's encouraging. That's what Earth can do for you.
What can Earth do for you?
Okay, so Aang has survived the Deadly Challenges 3.
And who is that? Who's that king? That's what the king wants to know.
What's my name?
Oh, nah. And then he's like, oh, wait, hold on. I know your name. You're Boomy. The only other guy with crazy eyes in the entire episode. Of course you are. And guess who didn't understand that until the very end when you're supposed to? Me. Patron of the arts. Scholar of the story. I was like, oh, cool!
It's Boomy.
In so many ways, folks, I am along for the ride on this show.
Yeah, like straight on the chute, going down the delivery system.
Exactly. I get to the exact destination that this show wants me to get to. I like Boomy. He's like Yoda with substance.
He's like Merlin and Yoda and Quasimodo.
Quasimodo, yeah, I'd buy that.
And as Katara has confirmed in this episode that Aang is, in fact, 112 years old. Look at Boomy. We saw his little crazy eyes, and we see his old crazy eyes. And do you think he hoped and believed that the Avatar would return?
The guy ate his vegetables for a reason. That's what happens when you eat vegetables. You keep your washboard abs. It's a lesson I could take well.
And I think there's something to be said for an old man who acts crazy so that his friend will recognize him.
But not crazy enough to where his friend did recognize him until he needed to.
No.
Cute.
It's always
Very
left
cute.
me a little unsettled still.
What, that he was messing with him the whole time?
Yeah.
No!
It shatters,
How
though.
why-
It shatters, though. 'Cause
All of my friends are Boomy. All of them.
and half of mine.
Yeah. He was messing with him because they're boys who go way back. And I'm not saying that boys who are friends do this to each other, but I am saying that boys who are friends who go back to far enough to that age where it would be funny do this. 100%.
Okay. Cool.
Mess with each other.
It was just, I think, I always forget that the Gemini, I always forget punchline. It's rock candy. Like, that stuck with me. I was like, but what? Katara getting trapped in crystals, that messes me up.
Right. Yeah. Kind of macabre until you realize that it's...
You can just eat it all.
A lot of food in this episode.
Oh, so much food.
So much food.
Welcome to the Earth Kingdom.
Episode 5, A Story of Salad.
Not just cabbage. There's
Not just
chicken,
cabbage.
too. Skinless, because we don't want our people to get overweight. There's just a lot of interesting stuff we learn about these people.
You put it all together and it's the gluten-free menu at Applebee's.
I do like Applebee's.
I know you like Applebee's. We've been to Applebee's.
Let's get half-price apps.
Let's do it.
And...
Get some nacho cheese.
give me that artichoke dip.
Uh-huh. They're slicing up the cabbage wedges and drizzling them in Thousand Island dressing and bacon bits right there.
I think
In front of
we
your
are
very eyes?
off in the land of cabbages already.
Let's continue this conversation, Kaylee, but we'll do it while we're off. I'm AJ Capuano.
I'm Kaylee Capuano.
And you have been listening to Atlas Shrugged, the Avatar: The Last Airbender podcast. Thank you so much for sticking it out with us.
Remember, friends, don't be afraid to think like a mad genius as we take on the world. Much love. Bye.